Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Tom LaHue, and we are going to be looking at the never ever do this to each type. So this is what you need to do for each type, and this is what you need to not do for each type. Super helpful information because we're all in relationships with other people trying to get along with them, and the Enneagram is a really fantastic tool not only to know more about ourselves, but also to better understand how to live compassionately with one another. That's what I do. I do Enneagram coaching for couples, for relationships, for individuals. You know, maybe you're struggling with where am I in life and why do I hate my job and what should I be doing? What's my purpose? Or you're needing some encouragement in your relationships. Maybe things are feeling difficult and relationships can be challenging sometimes. You can feel all alone, and sometimes the people you love most, you can sometimes have a hard time getting along with. Reach out to me, the description below, tomlahue.com, my website. I'd love to work with you. Check out my Present to Life coaching program. You can do a discovery session where we can meet and talk about the program, whether it's a good fit for you. All right, so let's jump into this list today. This is something that popped up on Pinterest or Instagram or somewhere, and I just reposted it because it's really helpful. And I think I saw this a long time ago because I've worked a lot of this into the way I coach people, into the way I teach and interact with the Enneagram. But let's just take a second and go through this list, okay? And we'll start with type 1, we'll go all the way through to type 9, and there is a do these things and then don't do these other things. So if you're interacting, which we all are, if you're interacting with these types, just good to kind of keep in mind, like this is going to make difficult the relationship if I do these things. So you might think of them as never ever behaviors in interacting with this type. So let's start with type 1, the perfectionist, the reformer. And here's some statements of what you should do when you interact with type 1s. Thank them for what they do. Ask them for their advice. And help them let go, let loose, and have more fun. So great statements. If you're living with a type 1, you're working with a type 1, this can be helpful for you to remember to thank them for what they do. Thank them for their work, for their service, for their dedication, for their involvement, for their willingness to step up to the plate, and, ask them for their advice. Especially one-wing 2s are often teachers or mentors or advocates. And so going to them saying, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think we should do about this? They're going to love you for it. Let them share their gripes, their concerns. Let them share their information, their instruction, and then help them have fun. Help them relax. Help them to lighten up. Now here's the don't ever do this for this type. Don't ever do these things to a type 1. Now, in reality, we probably can't always, withhold these things. But at our, when we're conscious and trying to, this is some good things for us to try to not do to a type 1. Number 1, say that they are irresponsible or imply that they're not responsible or that they're not really dedicated or committed to their work. Number 2, let them do all the work. And, this could happen because they do the work. They do show up early and stay late and work hard. And so we come to expect and think, well, they're just kind of wired that way. Maybe I should step out of the way. I feel like I'm disappointing them anyway when I try to help them. But don't fall into the trap of letting them do all the work. And last, don't question their integrity. And I would say another big one is never criticize a type 1. Even though they're often the most critical person on the Enneagram, be careful that you don't criticize them if at all possible. Try to say what you need to say in a way that's non-critical or judgmental if at all possible. So don't say that they're irresponsible. Don't let them do all the work, and never ever question their integrity. Okay, and that may not be completely possible to always do this, but this is the rules of do's and don'ts for each type. All right, type 2, the giver, the helper, the befriender, the connector. Here's what you need to do when relating to a type 2. Appreciate my helpfulness. Appreciation is the air that 2s breathe. And so, 2s, 3s, and 4s, they all need that admiration, appreciation, validation. We all do, but very much on that worth and value side. So make sure that you take a second to just appreciate. A little bit goes a long way. Just to notice when they're doing something, when they're being thoughtful, when they're being attentive, and just say, hey, thanks, I really appreciate that. Thanks for your help. Hey, thanks, I really am grateful for your support and your kindness. Oh man, I couldn't have done this without you. Those little statements are easy to give, they're free, they don't cost you anything, and they will pay huge dividends to the soul and encouragement of a type 2. So appreciate my helpfulness. Number 2, ask me about myself. You know, being married to a type 2, I can tell you that often she ends up in relationships where she knows a lot about other people and their problems and their difficulties and their hardships, but they don't always think to ask her, the 2, how she's doing. And so this could be it might startle a type 2 when you start asking about them. They might feel uncomfortable at first, but be sure to take a second and say, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Ask them about themselves. And number 3 is let me know you care. Let me know you care. 2s are often really good at demonstrating their care and concern for others, and sometimes they question whether other people really care about them. They remember people's birthdays, they remember people's favorite colors, they remember people's anniversaries, and then they as a 2 sometimes can be confused and hurt when people don't remember those special details about them. So let them know that you care. Now here's the don't ever do this for a type 2. If you live with a 2, if you love a 2, if you have a child that's a 2, number 1, never take me for granted. Never take a 2 for granted. And what does that mean? It means just expecting them to show up and do all the things they do without saying thank you, without being appreciative of it. And again, this can happen easily because you see them so often serving and taking care of others that you just come to expect it. It just becomes an expectation. And when it becomes an expectation, you're taking them for granted. So just a second to realize, wow, they don't have to do all this stuff for me. I sure am lucky. I sure am blessed. I sure am, blessed to be connected to somebody like this. Thank you so much. Never take a 2 for granted. Number 2, never be cold or indifferent. 2s are very warm. When they're doing well, they're very warm, they're very kind, they're very attentive, and they're going to pick up on you being cold or indifferent to them. So you want to, if possible, try to be warm and kind and friendly and relatable to them. Number 3 for a 2, never ever do this, is never make me feel left out. And again, I can't make people feel things, but you get the idea here, is be careful to include. Let's say it that way. Be careful to include the 2 in what you're doing. Whether you're taking a trip, make sure you send pictures and text. Whether you step outside or you're going to go to the store, make sure you turn and say, hey, would you like to go with us? Or is there anything that you need? Anything I can pick up for you? 2s are prone to this feeling that they're being left out, they're not being loved or cared for, and you can help minimize those fears by doing your best to try to remind them that you're not leaving them out. You're never going to do it perfectly, but we can all try to live more compassionately with each other. So never take a 2 for granted, never be cold or indifferent, and never make the 2 feel left out. Try to include them as much as possible. Okay. Type 3s, the performers, the achievers out there. What do they need from us? Well, the kind of the idea of 3s is they're proving their worth and value by how amazing they are, by setting goals and pushing themselves and accomplishing things. Tell them you are proud of them. Number 1, tell them that you are proud of them. Now, sometimes, this can be kind of a difficult thing because you might feel like, well, I don't want to go around telling people I'm proud of them. That puts me in that one-up position. But in this case, maybe you should try it. Just say, hey, you did a great job. I'm really proud of you. Thanks for your work. Thanks for your, that reflecting back. Think of it as like sonar that 3s send out. And they need this message reflected back to them that they have worth and value. And obviously they have worth and value not because of what they accomplished, but because it's intrinsic into our DNA. But just a reminder that, hey, you did a great job. I'm really proud of you. Any way you can communicate that is probably going to feel great to a type 3. Love me for who I am. And that gets that balance of not just loving me or giving attention to me for what I do, or how effective I am, but for your core identity. Reaffirm their core identity as much as possible. Giving compliments to them, not just for their effort or for their achievement, but just for them, for their characteristics, for their character. And then number 3, be direct and concise. Don't waste up a lot of their time with all of your ramblings or all of your indecision or all of your problems. 3's time is money, and don't waste all their time with all of your saga storytelling. Okay, never do this to a type 3. Don't ever do this to a type 3. Be overly emotional. Try not to be overly emotional. 3's emotions can feel a little bit like speed bumps, slowing them down. And so you want to be careful. This isn't maybe the person you go to when you're dealing with big emotional problems. Number 2, point out my failures. One of the fears of type 3 is the fear of failure. And so pointing out their failures or how they could have done things better, or the time when they didn't get across the finish line, could be very hurtful and could turn them against you. And then never interrupt my work. Never interrupt my work. Barging in to tell stories about your vacation or to deal with your big life drama problems. Try not to interrupt them when they're in the zone, when they're killing it and in the zone. Okay, type 4s, the unconventional, the individualist, the romantic, the dramatist, the healer. Type 4, do this for a type 4. Compliment me. Compliment me. Or you could say notice me. But I think don't notice too much. So sometimes 4s, they can be noticeable because maybe they do things in the way they look, like the way they wear their hair or the kind of clothing they wear or their jewelry or their tattoos. They might do things that make them stand out. And there's this balance of noticing them without maybe gawking at them. Okay, nobody likes to be gawked at. So compliment me. Notice things and compliment me. Respect my intuition or my gut feelings about things. I like to watch all these ghost hunter shows, and invariably the psychic will either be a 9 or a 4, and 4s can be very intuitive about things, and they may not always be able to express why they think what they think, but there is a reason why they think what they think, and it might boil down to intuition. So respect that intuition. Share your own feelings. Share your feelings. Don't withhold your feelings and not be in touch with your feelings and then be guarded or closed about your feelings, but be open and honest, direct, careful, and straightforward with your feelings. Okay, never do this to a type 4. Be crude or rude. Be crude or rude, making fun of people because they're different, being crass or harsh with people, being not gentle or unloving or unkind. Don't be crude or rude. Don't tell them to get over it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Here we go again. We're going through the labyrinth of all your deep emotions. Just build a bridge and get over it. Don't minimize or diminish the 4 by telling them that their problems aren't significant or that their suffering isn't legitimate or that they need to just get over their whatever the challenge or the obstacle is that they're facing. And never, ever wear a false front. Never deceive or be deceptive with them. Be yourself. Be who you are, while at the same time trying to limit your rudeness, your crudeness, your vileness. Wear a false front. Don't be someone that you're not or pretend to be someone that you're not. Don't be a fake. Don't be a phony. Don't be a poser, however you want to say this. Be true to yourself and be true to those feelings in front of them. Don't wear a false front. Don't wear a mask. And we all do this a little bit. And I would say maybe another one here for type 3 or 4, or maybe both, is don't ignore them. Don't ignore them, because they may work harder, they may give up on you, or they may work really hard to try to get you to not ignore them. Okay, type 5, the investigator, the observer, the detached one, the guy behind the castle, right? The one in the submarine with the little periscope. Type 5, Do these things. If you want to get along with a type 5, then you've got to focus on doing these things. Be independent. Don't make me take care of you. Don't make me be obligated to you. Be independent. Be an island unto yourself with trade negotiations with me, but don't make me take care of you. Don't put me in a position where I have to take care of you. Be independent. Be straightforward. Now, that doesn't mean be harsh or be mean. It just means say what you think, be direct, be straightforward, and tell me what's going on. And then be warm but not gushy. You know, it can feel invasive when people become too demanding to a type 5. So be warm, you know, be kind, be friendly, but don't be too gushy, too mushy, too sensitive, too emotional with them. And here's the never ever do this to a type 5. Don't be intrusive. Just barging in, telling them what to do, taking over their space, making a lot of demands, turning off their Xbox. Don't be intrusive. Don't come on too strong, and don't rush me. Maybe they need time to think about it. Maybe they need time to figure out what they think about things. They need time to develop their answer and to make a decision. So don't rush them and don't push on them. And I would say another never ever behavior for 5s is don't ever underestimate a 5. Just because it takes them a while to get into action, or it takes them a while to formulate their response or formulate their reaction, doesn't mean that they aren't moving forward. Doesn't mean that they're not going to react or respond appropriately. So don't underestimate a 5. Okay, time for coffee. And let's move to type 6. The loyalist, or the loyal skeptic, the guardian, the trooper, the security guard, the United States Marine, the motorcycle gang member, Batman. Let's talk about type 6, Spider-Man. What should you do for a type 6? Well, it isn't even on the list, but stay with them. Don't run off by yourself and forget about them. Make sure that you're staying with them. Type 6, be clear about your expectations, because I don't want to live in a world where I'm going to be judged for something I didn't know was an expectation. Make sure I understand the rules before you start docking my pay. Make sure I understand the rules and the expectations before I get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble, and I will follow the rules if they make sense, and I know what they are. So make sure you're clear about the expectations. If you're giving an assignment, make sure you're clear about how it's going to be graded. Share a rubric so that everybody knows exactly what needs to be in the assignment, because we're going to be graded on this. Okay, type 6, be clear about the expectations. Reassure me that we are okay. So check in every once in a while and say, man, you're doing a great job. I really appreciate you. Thank you for all your work. I don't have anything negative to say right now. I really am happy with you here. Just reassure them, because their suspicious mind is going to start to question whether or not you really want them here, or that they're doing a good job. So reassure them that everything is okay, the relationship is okay, their performance is okay, and be supportive. Be supportive. It doesn't mean you have to have all the answers for all their problems. It just means that you show up and you stay connected. You remain connected when they're going through a trouble, that you show up and you get yourself in the picture with them. You don't have to have all the solutions to their problems, but just don't let them suffer alone. Don't let them reel alone or spiral alone. Just let them know that they have your support and that you're there with them. It could be a text message. When they tell you what's going on and their mom's dying of cancer, just respond back, wow, really praying for you guys. If you need anything, don't hesitate to ask. Just that little bit of, hey, you're on a team. You're on a team and we're here for you. Just reminding you that you're on a team. So maybe 3 weeks go by, you don't hear from the 6, send a text message, hey, just checking up on you, making sure everything's okay. It's the kind of stuff that 6s do. If you're in a relationship with a 6, this is the kind of stuff they do for you, and it shows you the expectation they have in that relationship. Now, don't ever do this to a 6. First thing that comes to mind without even looking at the list is don't ever look at them and say, do you trust me? you will creep them out and they will never trust you again. So never lie. Never lie to a 6. Even if you have to tell them how you messed up and how you did the wrong thing, it's so much better to just be straightforward with them and tell them the truth. They will be able to handle whatever you did as long as you admit you were wrong, but do not lie to a 6. You might lie and tell fibs and make up stories to other people and you don't think it's a big deal. It's a big deal to a 6. Don't lie to a 6. Okay, never overreact when I overreact. So when they overreact, you remain calm. When they're going off in their spiraled thoughts of what could happen and what this might mean and what should we do next, you remain calm and just continue to talk them through their problem and say, wow, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What would you do if that happens? Well, I don't know. I would do this and I would do that. And maybe, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. Well, have you thought about this? And so you try to remain calm if they're not being very calm. Never change plans unexpectedly and then expect them to jump on board. So, don't surprise them with all kinds of changes all of the sudden. Make sure that you warn them if possible. Hey, changes are coming. Just letting you know, a couple of weeks from now, we're going to have to implement a new system. Just giving you a heads up, heads up, heads up. I don't want to surprise you or overwhelm you with a lot of changes or changes to the plans unexpectedly. And then never, ever let me down. If you tell me you're going to do something, follow through on it. If you tell me you're going to be there, follow through on it. And if you can't, don't withdraw yourself secretly and quietly hoping I won't notice. Make sure you call me and say, hey, Jan, I hate to do this to you, but I made these plans with you and it looks like something else has come up and I'm not sure what to do, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to be. Make sure you own that you're changing your plans and that you know it's an inconvenience and that you hate to let them down. But be there, be supportive, be a person of your word with them, and if at all possible, never lie, never run away from, and never be unsupportive, and never let them down. Again, we're never going to do this perfectly, guys. We don't live in the Garden of Eden. And there's no way any of us can be perfect humans and never make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. And aren't you glad that God is a gracious God and that He loves us no matter what, even with our failures and problems? And I'm here. If you want coaching or you want help or you want encouragement, whatever I can do to help you, I'm here for you. All right, type 7. This is my type. Type 7. Do this for a type 7 and they're going to think you're great. First of all, laugh at their jokes. Laugh at their jokes, laugh with them, and respond to them. Okay, but type 7, have fun with me. Have fun with me. When I'm having fun, don't sit there and scold me and tell me that I need to stop or that I'm being ridiculous or I'm being silly or it's not funny. Have fun with me. Relax with me. Appreciate my spontaneity. When I say, oh, you know what we should do? We should, on the way to Jacksonville, we should stop at this. If at all possible, maybe go along with that and say, okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, sounds fine. Appreciate my spontaneity. If I decided, hey, you know what, we got the grandkids in the house, why don't we decorate the house like the North Pole? Let's go to the library and get books on the North Pole. Let's rent some videos about the North Pole and let's have a North Pole day. Don't say, oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous. Why do we have to do this every time? Oh my goodness, can't we just babysit the kids? Why do we always have to make a production out of everything? Ugh. Feels like death to me. All right, enjoy my grand visions. Enjoy my grand visions. When I'm coming up with a bunch of ideas and I'm brainstorming things, don't tell me how it's not going to work out. Don't tell me, oh yeah, well, that's ridiculous. That'll never work out. Oh, that costs too much. Oh, what are you thinking? Just live in the sky with me for a moment. Come up into the clouds and let me brainstorm some ideas. And you might know that, yeah, that's never going to happen, or he's never going to follow through with this. But come up into the clouds and let me brainstorm a bunch of ideas. Let me create some grand visions of the next vacation we're going to have. You may well know that we aren't going to be able to do all those things, but let me be in my imagination for a while. In fact, encourage that and try to join me in that imagination for a while. Sometimes you have to And I've always known this. Sometimes you have to think of 3 bad ideas before you get to one good one. And if you're coming up with bad ideas and somebody immediately stops you and says, oh my gosh, just get serious, I'm done. Or if somebody takes me too serious and says, oh, well, okay, you came up with this idea, let's start taking action right now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let it live in the clouds for a little bit before we start putting feet on it. Let it live in the clouds and let's bat it around, talk about it. And I'm okay if we have to limit it to some degree, but don't do that immediately. And don't start moving to action immediately. That can make me feel kind of anxious. Okay? All right, so never do this to a 7. If you're in a relationship with a 7, you're parenting a 7, you have a brother or a sister or a spouse that's a 7, never do this. Be clingy or needy. You know, 7s tend to have a kind of independent streak to them. They love people, but they kind of want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. I know it sounds very selfish. I know. But being clingy or needy or requiring a lot of obligation or requiring a lot of care can sometimes be exhausting to 7s. And so just like 5s, we kind of want you to be independent. We want you to be our travel companion or our travel buddy, and we want you to be our audience and to laugh with us. We want to be our playmate, but we don't necessarily, we might have a hard time. Your 7 might have a hard time being a caregiver to you and having to slow everything down to take care of you. That could be a challenge for a 7. And it's not that they shouldn't learn to do it, it's just it's going to be taxing and exhausting, and they're going to get frustrated with it, and don't be surprised when this happens because I told you it was going to. All right, next is ask me to do tedious things. I can't imagine being an accountant. I just can't imagine it. To me, Bob Cratchit would be the worst job that I could ever think of, is sitting there in a cubicle making sure that you are counting all the numbers and making sure that all the numbers add up to the right amount and making sure everything is audited correctly. Tedious. Getting on the phone with the insurance person, working out all these contracts and details. I can't imagine a more stressful, life-sucking thing than the tedious Bob Cratchit lifestyle of an accountant. I just can't imagine it. I did accounting in high school. I hated it. And I can't imagine a worse thing. And if you are an accountant, thank you so much for what you do. You're probably a 1, you're probably a 6, maybe you're a 9, I don't know. But I appreciate what you do. I just couldn't do it. Okay, so don't ask me to do tedious things. Now, you know, you're gonna have to at times, but if you, it's a list. I didn't make the list, I'm just reading it. And then the last thing is don't micromanage me. Think about like Dead Poets Society. That's a good example where Robin Williams, a 7, is inspiring all of these kids to seize life and carpe diem, seize the day. But he's micromanaged by all these bureaucrats who want to shut him down and make him like every other teacher. Don't micromanage a 7. Don't expect a 7 to be focused all the time either. If you have to have a 7 focused all the time for them to be employed, they're never going to be employed. That's the whole point of being a 7, is it's hard to focus. It's hard to focus. And sometimes there's benefits in seeing multiple perspectives, multiple options, multiple ways of doing things. And being a jack of all trades is not necessarily a bad thing. So never micromanage a 7. Yeah. Let them be a little spontaneous. Let them kind of march to the beat of their own drum. Let them do things in a different way. If they're a teacher in your school and they do things differently, they make the kids march around the school and pick up, you know, sticks and play with butterflies, and that's part of the way they teach. Relax. They may be the best teacher in your school. They very well may be the best teacher in your school. Okay, they could be the worst, but they probably are the best. All right, type 8. Never do this to a type 8. Do this. Let's start with the do this list. Let's stay consistent. Okay, focus. All right, so type 8, do this for a type 8 and you're going to have a great relationship with them. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself. If you believe something and you think it's the right way to do things, then you need to defend yourself. State your case and then argue for it. And if you can't stand your ground and you can't argue for it, then why should I listen to you? Why should any of us listen to you? So if you're going to tell me that Goodwill is a better place to buy clothes than Walmart, then you need to be able to defend that. State your case, argue for your case, and prove to me why you're right. Stand up for yourself. Okay? Don't back down. Let other people take advantage of you. If you tell a story about how you let somebody get the best of you to an 8, they're going to tell you, "Are you serious? Why did you do that? Why did you walk away? Why didn't you tell them? You should have told them." Okay. Stand up for yourself. Be direct, which sounds a lot like 5, right? Be straightforward. Be direct. If you have something, a complaint or a problem, it's best to not overthink this with an 8. Just walk right into their office and say, "Hey, I need to talk to you. The other day when you said X, Y, and Z, I really had a problem with that. I don't want, look, you may not want to work with me, but you got to respect me." You just got to be direct and straightforward. And don't assign a lot of emotion or assign a lot of meaning or assign a lot of drama to it. Just be direct and straightforward with them, and they'll probably appreciate it. You might get some reaction, but they're going to appreciate you being direct and straightforward. Share your tender side with them. Share your tender side. Be playful, be warm, be friendly. Just because they're strong and powerful all the time doesn't mean they don't have a soft, hearted side. And be willing to let them see your soft, tender, emotional, kind side. And don't overreact if they show you their kindness or their tenderness, because they probably do have a really big heart under there. Never do this to a type 8. Never take my anger personally. When they come in and they start griping and growling about whatever was going on, and somebody said something to them and that was ridiculous, and then you're all offended by this, "Oh my gosh, oh my goodness, I can't believe you said this to me." They're going to think to themselves, "I'm done. I can't talk to you. I can't be myself around you because you get your feelings hurt." And then you go tell on me to mom or to whoever, "I'm done." And an 8's going to feel like they can't really interact with you because you always get your feelings hurt. So you got to realize that you're barking with the dogs here when you're talking to an 8. And don't take the dogs when they are playful and pulling on the rope and they nip you a little bit. They're not trying to fight you. They're just dogs being dogs. Rah, 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 growl, 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 right? And if you get your feelings hurt because you wear them on your sleeves and you get your feelings hurt all the time because they're rough and aggressive, and you go tell on them, or you write them a long email of, I just need to clarify, what did you mean when you said this? You really hurt my feelings, and I thought that I could trust you, and then I'm telling you, the 8's going to be done with you immediately. They're just never going to talk to you again. They're going to be like, "Done. Prove to me I'm wrong. I've seen it." Okay? Don't take my anger personally. Let 8s be angry. Okay, just let them let them gripe and growl and snarl and all that. Now, don't let them abuse anybody, but when they are griping about the prices at Walmart going up, or they're griping about music today, or kids today, or movies today, or whatever it is, don't overreact and don't take it personally. And then never, ever, ever, ever betray their trust. Never betray their trust. If they're vulnerable with you and they share something that is, sensitive with you, never use that against them. Never betray them. Never stab them in the back. If you have to, make sure you go to them first and say, "Look, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to have to go to the manager to explain what happened the other day." You can't just stab them in the back, because, that is their worst fear, is that the people that they trust, and it's a lot like 6s in many ways, the people that they trust, that they let into their fort, are going to turn around and prove themselves to be a hostile, to be an enemy against them. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. And then last is, never try to fence me in. Never try to control me, never try to limit me, never try to restrain me, because if you try to restrain them, they're probably just going to get worse. Let me give you an example. I remember talking to an 8 who was at a Christian college, and she was using a couple of swear words, which is 8s are prone to do. And the roommate was a 1. And the roommate didn't like the 8 using these swear words. And so the roommate, the 1, said, "You need to stop. You need to stop using these words. These words are not okay." And, they were right. They're not okay. But let me tell you what the 8 did instead. Instead of stopping swearing, what the 8 did was got the dry erase marker and went to the refrigerator with all the other roommates and said, "Okay, you know what? What words can we not say? Can we not say damn?" And she wrote that word on the thing. "Can we not say crap? Can we not say..." And she just went off on all the words and filled the refrigerator up with every swear word that she knew. This is the kind of response you're probably going to get from an 8 when you start trying to control, limit, or tell them they can't do something. They're going to take it as a fight. Okay, it's on. On like Donkey Kong. All right, I hate that expression. It's so dumb. It's corny. Cringy is what my daughter would say. Dad, you're so cringy. Hey, you know what? I'm over 50. I'm allowed to be a little cringy now. Okay, number 9, the best for last. 9s, we saved you for last. Here's what you do if you're in a relationship with a type 9. You want them to feel good. You want them to feel connected. You want them to feel cared about and loved. Here's what you need to do for your type 9. Be patient with me. Why? Because 9s sometimes move at a little different pace. They sometimes march to the beat of their own drum and move at a little different pace. They're not necessarily rushed, and they're going to stop and smell the roses. So be patient with me, especially when they tell a story. When you say, hey, did you stop at the grocery store and pick up that salad dressing I asked you to pick up? And then they say, well, you know, a funny thing happened. I was on my way to the store when Bob called. Okay, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, just get to the point. Just get to the point. Why do we have to go on a saga every time you tell a story? Be patient with me. Next is ask me what I like and ask me what I don't like. And this can be a challenge sometimes for 9s because they may not always know what they like and don't like unless somebody pushes them to think about it. So, you know, sometimes 9s are so easy to go along with other people. Nobody ever thinks to stop and say, what do you want? What would you prefer? Probably better to say, what do you prefer rather than what do you want? Because want might feel too strong for a 9. And then hug me often. Physical touch. You know, come alongside, put your arm around them if, you know, it's appropriate. Don't do it if it's not appropriate. But if it's appropriate, like it's your daughter or your son or something, put your arm around them, you know, and just reconnect with them and let them know that you care. I know my daughter, one of my daughters, Kaylee, is a 9-wing 1. And she just needed a lot more physical hugs and, you know, that kind of thing than most of my other kids did. And sometimes it would be kind of funny because I would wonder, how far can you push her? You know, once I realized she was a 9, like, how far can you push her on this? And so, like, if we're standing in the line at Disney, for example, I would put my hand on her back and I would just start pushing her. And just, how long can she take this before she finally reacts? And usually she never would. Like, you could push her, you could, like, you know, squeeze her and pull her toward you and stuff, or like take her head and pull it down like this. And you just like, how much can they take before they just say, oh my goodness, stop? It's kind of scary. And if you're a 9, be aware of this. Like, you know, I was just wondering, like, how far could somebody push my daughter before she, like, pushed back and said, stop it? It's pretty scary. So, okay, here's never, ever, ever do this to a type 9. Never do this to a type 9. Okay, here it is. Number 1, pressure me or hurry me. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. We ain't got all day. Let's move it along. What do you think? What do you want? Make a decision. Make a decision. Conflict. The last dying words of 9, remember, is I'm sorry. Okay, so never confront me harshly. Hey, I want to talk to you. The other day when you came in here and you said that you were going to bring donuts, I just want to know, who do you think you are? Okay. And last is never take advantage of my kindness. Never take advantage of my kindness. What you're going to find if you do this, if you make yourself a miserable person to be around and bring a lot of discomfort for 9s, what you're going to find is 9s will probably not say much. They'll probably just withdraw from you. They'll just go dark. They'll just disappear. They'll just ghost you and you just never see them again. Or if you see them, they'll just never interact with you. They'll like camouflage kindness, but they won't ever really open up and interact with you again. They'll just withdraw from you. Last night, we were watching, I made my kids watch Back to the Future. They hadn't seen it before. What a fantastic movie. George McFly, a 9. You know, he's pushed around and pushed around. Biff and the other bullies push him around until there's this moment where they are pushing around somebody else. And there's just this glorious moment when the 9 gets their fist and just, bam, hits the bully in the mouth, knocks him out. And, you know, it's hard for 9s. Sometimes the dormant volcano will eventually erupt. But if you live with a 9, they tend to be very gentle, easygoing people that don't want problems and want everybody to get along. So try to do that if possible. Doesn't mean you can't confront problems. It just means be careful how you confront problems. So what a fantastic list. I posted this on my Facebook page. I posted this or reshared this on my Instagram page. It got a lot of response because people like this kind of stuff. Very helpful, very challenging, very informative. And, you know, you guys, be nice to each other. Be kind to each other. Love each other. Take care of one another. And as always, be present to life. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.